Welcome to the Dingus Den for a special video where I'm here to do a special little interview with Zach Chapman, who created Dino Knights. I'm excited to talk about this. I think this is a really cool book that you put out. So, you know what? Let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Dingus Den.
All right. Well, this makes a special video. This is the second time I've ever had anybody on to talk about their book, something I want to start trying to do more of. And you know what? It's great to have you here to talk about one that I thought was really cool. And it's just one of those ideas that immediately stood out to me, lizards and fantasy knights and all this cool stuff. Where I was just like, this is like one of those things that almost seems like it was specifically made for me because I thought it was so cool.
Oh, thanks.
And
Yeah,
so, yeah,
yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, always happy to talk uh lizards or turtles or
any of that.
creatures. But yeah, I created Dino Knights. They're anthropomorphic dinosaur knights they're from the far future. They get transported back in time. One of them gets transported a little bit further back in time than the others, but that kind of resolves itself by the end of the first issue. Where two issues are done, well, two issues are in print, four issues are
Oh, right
digital,
there.
and yeah, you got the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, those
Um,
there.
yeah, so that's kind of like the rough pitch is that they're these Dino Knights. They're
Mhm.
dinosaur knights from the far future, and they get transported back in time to now, and there's kind of like this looming threat of this thing called the Techno Tribe, which they fight against. The first two, it's kind of like as far as like plot wise, it's a bit of a slow burn because the first issue is just the main character,
Right.
and the second issue is just meeting the team.
Mhm.
So I really wanted to decompress that. So it's going to be a longer story. I'm trying to make this an ongoing series. So we haven't even really met the bad guys at this point.
Sure.
But you kind of have a little bit of an intro at the very end of the second issue of kind of what they're up against.
Yeah, no, whenever I first read them, I thought they were just a lot of fun. It has a really fun feeling to it the whole way through, full of references. It's one of those like really nice lighthearted reads, it's nothing necessarily that's like really deep, but it's just like, sometimes you can't ask for anything more, I think, than, something that just is a fun time and is just wacky and I really enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah, thanks. It's definitely like I'm trying to it's like a kitchen sink approach where yeah, there's a lot of references. The main character is like he's not he didn't grow up in our time, but the narrator character did and
Yeah.
and is like a huge nerd. They own a board game shop in Queens, and he loves video games. He's a huge gamer, so he's always like comparing situations to different various video games and
Mhm.
other fun media that he there's like a reference to Star Wars on the very first page of the
I
book, so
Yes.
it's like it's that kind of it's going to be that kind of thing. So if
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not interested in getting a bunch of like referential humor, or some people say it's like kind of like a light-hearted Deadpool. I have not read Deadpool, so I don't know
I
if
can I
that's
can I can kinda
accurate.
see that in some ways.
It,
Not how I thought about it at first, but I could see how people make that connection.
I wouldn't say that it like is breaking the fourth wall, but it
Right.
is, I mean, I wouldn't say this is a spoiler. You kind of find you can conclude this very quickly that it's from the perspective of a different character, but uh, um that character it's he's in the future. So he's like talking about
Sure.
things that have happened. So yeah, and he addresses the reader. So yeah, it is breaking the fourth wall, but it's not like the
Mhm.
characters aren't turning to the reader and looking at them and talking at them.
Right.
So
Kinda does it in its own little way, but, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, no, that's cool. Uh, First and foremost, I wanna ask, where did this whole idea come about from, you know?
Well, I wanted to put a lot of genres together, uh, of various things that I like, and I wanted to make an ongoing series. And so one of, I mean, I must have started this like 6 years ago.
Mhm.
Started like the brainstorming for it.
Sure.
Um, and so I wanted to put in like a lot of different genres. So, science fiction, like love science fiction.
Yeah.
Uh, and one of the subgenres of science fiction, like the 1950s, was a popular subgenre called Dying Earth, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like science fiction and fantasy, and basically like the world is like dying,
Sure.
and it's kind of like a bleak thing. Like eh, it's a fair I guess it's like fairly dark, but so I kind of wanted to throw that in the mix with like something lighthearted. And so like they these creatures come from a setting that's like that. Like
Mhm.
it's so far in the future that like it's so different from what humans are like.
Mhm.
There's no humans, there's no things that like humans evolved into. It's like there's dinosaurs at the end of time. I mean, we're talking like 8 billion years from now. So it's
Sure.
like and they've like moved the planet because 8 billion years from now there won't be Earth, but unless it's moved out of the expanding radius of the sun. So anyway, so there's like a little bit of like it's very, very fantastical, but there's a little bit of
Sure.
like hard sci-fi ideas in there, not concepts, but like just little things.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just wanted to like throw like kitchen sink approach to storytelling, and I wanted to do an ongoing series where it's
Mhm.
uh because I've I did a Haunting on Mars, which is like basically like a mini series it has a very um definitive ending to it.
Sure.
And uh some of my other stuff, like just as far as like making an ongoing series, is a little bit difficult when if you are a co-creator and your artist is like gets picked up by Marvel, or they just say, hey, I got a job and I'm like done making comics, or so I needed to like kind of configure a setting, or
Mhm.
and a set of characters that would work with like different artists' approaches. And so I
Sure.
was thinking like, oh well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like there are so many very varied artists
Right.
on that
Sure.
IDW run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you're not like, oh, who is this? Like, I'm confused that the artist is
Mhm.
different. So that was another like practical matter. And then yeah, I'm just like I'm a storyteller. So like I had all these like practical things that I wanted
Mhm.
to throw into a story. So I don't know. That might sound boring, but that's
No,
like
no.
that's like kind of like why this thing
Sure.
exists, is like there are some practical things, but yeah, and then I just wanted to have fun when I was writing too.
Sure.
Like I had a lot of fun writing A Haunting on Mars, but like it's a yeah, it's like cyberpunk and horror, and
Sure.
it has a cyberpunk horror ending, which
Sure.
is like not like the most fun ending. So I wanted to do something that's just,
Yeah,
like, gonna, like, put smiles on my face and people's faces, so, and I wanted to develop characters that I, like to hang around with,
sure.
so yeah, I mean, some of these characters are annoying, but, like, a lot of my friends are annoying, so, like, you know, uh, but yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely a great cast of characters. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed these first two issues. I'm looking forward to the other ones that you have coming
Oh,
out soon.
thanks. I really
Um,
appreciate that, yeah.
where you can go ahead and share the Kickstarter going on, which is awesome here. Where you have, as of recording, 9 days left, so not much longer to go if you want in on checking this out, where you can get all the previous two issues, including the new ones as well. And you have this awesome little intro video here too, which is like an awesome uh, intro cinematic. Oh my gosh, animation. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. I
Yeah,
love it
thanks.
here with the music going on as well. Where this I'm not on the video. Go to the Kickstarter if you want to do it. But this song, this little like 30-second, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoon. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, so I had a band reach out to me to do a House of Blood theme song. House of Blood is well, there's some of them back there that you might be able to
Sure.
spot um if you're watching. But so I guess maybe they were looking on Kickstarter. I'm not sure how they found me. They're called the
Yeah,
Antibodies, and
interesting.
they're really cool. Like they make really cool pop punk music, but
Mhm.
they also make like TV show theme type music. And they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, are you like, do you want a House of Blood uh um theme song?" And I was like, "I'm not really I'm not gonna produce another House of Blood for a little while. I know I keep saying I want to do that, but I have this Dino Knights project, which, yeah, I mean, that would be perfect with like a Saturday
Mhm.
morning cartoon sound. So, they've read like the first 5 or 6 issues, the band did, and we wrote the lyrics together, and then they composed the music and really killed it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
That tune gets like stuck in my head. It's great. And it's also like the cool thing about the song, like the lyrics when we were writing them, were designed to like really kind of serve as a pitch. So it's like saying what the story is a little bit. Like,
Sure.
I mean, you kind of hear that on like in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like it kind of like explains to where,
Right.
if you just picked up issue 4, which I don't think you should do, but if you just picked up any issue, you kind of have like the intro of like, from the far it's kind of like what I've already gone over. The lyrics basically explain that.
Yeah.
And they do it in a style that is like representative of the way I write, and the music too is like how like the story and the way the characters talk. It's just like
Mhm.
it's thematically, it like really resonates with the story. So, anyways, if you listen to that, you have a very good idea of what you're going to be reading, I think.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely very fun fitting and everything. When reading through the first issue, uh, at the end, by the end of it, that first issue reminded me of one thing in particular, is sort of like how it went, and that was it reminded me very much of like those first episode two of like Gargoyles. Like it's back in time, and then where it ends up at is very Gargoyles esque, and it perfectly fits that whole vibe going on there, which
Oh,
is really
thanks.
cool.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple episodes. I mean, it's been since I was a child for Gargoyles, but
Sure,
I did not see the pilots or the original episodes, but yeah, what I wanted to do with the first issue is like I wanted to like really ease the audience into
sure.
the characters first. It was like character first, and then we'll go setting. And so it's like it's just the main character
Mm.
and the voice of, like, to keep it consistent, it's of the narrator is Percy, who's you meet him in issue 2. I mean, you didn't meet him at the very end of issue 1, but
Right.
you really actually meet him in issue 2, and so that kind of unites it. But like the story of the first issue, it's like it's basically a one shot of like what happened to the main character and why he's not like the other 3 Dino Knights. And that also, like, that creates a lot of like rich conflict for the story to develop in the story. So, he has his own set of issues, like he didn't get to grow up with them. He grew up in Arthurian times. His
Yeah.
best friend is like dead, right? Because he traveled to a new timeline. He didn't travel to a new timeline, but he traveled to a different time period, and so everything that he knows is like,
Right.
a thousand years in the past. So that's like, so he has a broodiness to him that I feel like makes him, unique. And I needed to properly, I don't know, there's like a lot of comics are like super condensed now, like a lot of superhero comics, and this is
Sure.
a little similar to a superhero comic. And so that would all be compressed into like 3 or 4 pages in a issue 1. I didn't want to do that. Like, I didn't want to just say, "Hey, here's the character, assume this." Like, I wanted to give a reason, and there's also conflict and fun things that are happening, and also, I mean, Arthurian characters. There's King Arthur and Mordred, and um I have my version of Merlin, who
Yeah.
is a backwards in time traveling character, to just confuse the audience.
Uh, yeah, I know those were good all good characters there. And definitely enjoyed seeing or reading through all those different ones there. Yeah, a bunch of great ones there.
Thanks.
And you get a nice little tease. I really like this page in particular. The whole tease there about
Oh yeah,
going on.
yeah. That's I mean, yeah, that's one of my favorite pages. I've been using it as like the design. I do all the production design too. It's
Oh,
really hard to
nice.
see, but
Sure.
um I use it as the like the interior for the credits page, because it's such an, like, that's Dave Schwartz who did that art. And actually, I thumbnailed it for him, and I was like, this is how I want this to be. And I like, so I drew it, but like I can't even show you my drawing, but it's like really terrible. But I was like, I need it like how, like, his dream is like above them, and I sketched that out. And but
Sure.
it's very funny because it's like, I drew Merlin with his little, like, I had him in like a Merlin, like a silly Merlin hat. Anyways, but yeah, so it's definitely one of my favorite pages. So epic, and it
Yeah.
also, like, it really goes into the future of like what where everything ends up, and it is bleak because it is like the last days of planet Earth and the universe as we know it, or
Sure.
not even as we know it, but as a distant time that at
Yeah.
some point everything's going to end. So, and then there's like a final battle. So, that's kind of what he's dreaming, and he's explaining it to Merlin, and Merlin's being odd about it.
Sure.
Uh, so
Yeah, no, definitely. I do appreciate having that first issue to really set a good, foundation. Like I said, to me, it reminded me of Gargoyles, which set a very important foundation for it. How it began, where it's full episode or two. I think it was 2 episodes, where it's set back in time, and then you have to
mhm.
jump to the future, which is very much like what happens here. And when we get jump to the future, or I guess that'd be our modern. Would it be like our present? Is that what it'd be in?
Yeah, yeah. It is definitely our present. I had to like re rewrite some jokes to make it to where are present, because from when I wrote issue 2 originally, like, we had a different president, because
Sure.
I was like, "Oh, crap, I have to, like, rewrite this like a whole set of panels to like make this work." So, I mean, is actually going to like some parts of this book may date, they will date, because
Sure.
there's a lot of referential stuff.
Yes.
But I just want to make something modern too. So, modern jokes, modern references. It's happening now. 10 years from now, it will be happening 10 years in the past because it's happening now. So,
Sure. So
I
so
mean, but
this oh,
superhero comics
yeah.
do that too. So,
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So this whole idea that these characters are running a tabletop slash game store, where did that thought come from?
So I wanted these characters to be able to not be ninjas. Like, I don't want them in a sewer. I wanted them to have interaction with people, and I was like, well, how are they going to do this? And how are they going to do this in New York? Because I really want to set this thing in New York.
Sure.
So when I was brainstorming this for the first like year that I was thinking of this story, and this is like in the background. I'm keep in mind I'm writing a Haunting on Mars. I'm writing House of Blood while I'm like slowly brainstorming this. I'm like, I can't get them in New York and it like makes sense. Like, they need to have some kind of job, and it can be
Mhm.
magical and whatever. So the first thought was like, okay, they're gonna run like a nighttime. What do they call that? They're okay. So they have this like restaurant chain where you can like go to the restaurant and eat there, and there's like nights in the restaurant, but it's like
Okay.
and they'll joust. I forget what they call that restaurant, but
Sure.
they're like it's like a chain. I think it's a chain. So at first I was like, oh, like I would do that. Like, I'm gonna have this is like what their job is gonna be, and no one's gonna like know because
Sure.
they're animatronics. And then I just was like, "Well, how is that gonna work?" Like, in New York, they have, like, a huge these are, like, I guess, like, a chain in the Midwest or that, like, pop up on the side of highways. Um, I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's been a very, very long time since I've seen it, but, the the Cable Man?
Have not.
Okay, well, there's a scene in that movie where it's like they straight up, like, joust in these restaurants,
Sure.
and they would do it, like, nightly, like every while people are eating, and like people will, like have fans or whatever. So yeah, that was like my idea, and I was like, I just can't get that to like work in New York, and it's also like a size thing. Like, I don't want them to have like this huge restaurant. And then I was like, what do I love? Like, oh, maybe they should have like a video game store or like a D&D shop. And so that's kind of like
Mhm.
how it happened. And so basically they get to interact with the public to a degree. When people come into their store, they think that they're like these cosplaying like amazing
Mhm.
Hollywood level cosplayers, and their best friend, May, who actually has like a really important role in the series, but May is under the impression that they're cosplayers, but also suspects that they're not like cosplayers. Like, she's,
Sure.
because she hangs out with them so much, she'll like, you know, be
Yeah.
playing video games with them, fall asleep on their couch, and like kind of overhear like their discussions about all, their lives
Mhm.
and stuff. So anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how we get Dino Knights in New York, and people aren't like freaking out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they think that they're like actors in cosplay while they're tending the store.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting idea and such for like a way to kind of in a way as well connect with a reader that where that's like such a geeky sort of thing to be into, to open up something like that. So special connection where I would imagine most people that would probably read something like this would be into most likely either of those things.
Yeah, yeah, and it's also like, okay, so they get to be like these badass fighting knights, but they're also total nerds because, they own a nerd shop. They're
They're
just like,
relatable. I love it.
yeah, exactly. Like who doesn't want to like work at a, you know, shop like that's either a comic book shop
Sure.
or
Yeah.
selling like D&D minis or
Yeah,
a Warhammer shop. Like, I mean, those are cool jobs. So it is a little bit of wish fulfillment too,
for
so,
sure.
but it's
Yeah.
also very practical to the
it,
story.
it works. I like that connection of just, to me, it added to the funness a lot of it of just, it's like, oh, what is your job? By doing something that any nerd could probably get behind, doing. I feel like, and so
Yeah, yeah.
I like that part of it.
They just
It's really
happen to have to fight knights. Sorry, evil robots.
fun. Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty fun. And you brought up the character earlier, who uh, well, the one that works at the theater, who
Oh,
hangs
May,
out with her.
yeah.
Yes,
May's like their best friend.
that one. Yeah. Which I really thought the theater part was a lot of fun. That had one of my personal favorite references to it, and throughout all of these. And I'm not here to necessarily spoil every single reference, but my favorite reference is the one with Superman Lives, by
Yes.
Tim Burton. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what kind of earth we're on now.
Yeah, so she's like this she's yeah, her almost her whole character. Not her whole, she has a bit. She's a really cool character and but she starts off and there are bits with her because it's also very funny and ironic to me that like um there's a character, she runs the late night ticket booth at like the local theater um near where they're at. And so they'll go to her shows and then they'll put on like whatever movie that they want to watch, right? Because they're the only ones in the theater. So you can do that if you're running the theater, right?
Mhm.
So but her thing is she in a kind of freak accident drank a potion that one of the characters was brewing to help find these kind of MacGuffin things. But anyways, this potion had like this really dramatic effect on her in that whenever she views media,
Mhm.
usually movies, instead of viewing like what everyone else is seeing, she's like viewing an alternate version from a different time period, from a different timeline. And so they're watching Wild Wild West. She okay, so she puts on a movie that she thinks is Tim Burton's Superman Returns. And people who are like I guess like diehard fans of this kind of stuff, they'll know that that movie got scrapped, and the scraps of that movie, the producers turned it into Wild Wild West in a very very like the money, and then um the scenes of like, oh, we want a big spider at the end of this movie, that all kind of got repurposed in a very roundabout way into Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and no one really likes that movie. So I think that's the bit, right? That's the bit in issue two.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, then they put on an actual good movie,
Yeah.
which is another bit because she thinks that um, uh, OJ Simpson was in that movie, and he is not in that movie. But he was they wanted to cast OJ
See,
as the Terminator.
that I originally didn't know before reading this, and I was, like, confused by that part at first, and then I, like, "Oh, I see." So,
Yeah,
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 that's
he
that's
was a
funny.
contender, or he was a contender
Sure.
for the role. So yeah, and then that continues. So it's like there's bits with her in the next issues where it just causes confusion because she's, she runs a whole thing. Yeah. So,
That's
um,
great. And
yeah,
I'm
and
looking forward to it.
yeah, and I like I thought it's just a funny idea, and I like um another part of this series was like I just wanted to, like I said, like kitchen, like I really wanted to throw a lot of goofy science fiction, and
Yeah,
that's goofy science fiction. It's goofy. It's like it's time travel, but not really,
sure.
and so there's alternate realities, but it's always like kind of like done in a fun way. And
Right.
people should be like, they should be tolerant of this kind of thing because all of these shows and movies, like they have multiverse stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm riffing on that. I feel
Mhm.
like those things are riffing on stuff that I'm riffing on, which is like,
Sure.
science fiction from the 70s. But anyways, um yeah.
Nice. No, that's interesting hearing where kind of all that comes from and how it all fits together there. Is when I first read this, I wouldn't have necessarily thought that's where you would have gotten a bunch some of those ideas and stuff, which is really cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, very cool to hear all that. There's also I did the last main thing I have to really I feel like really mention upon is really liking the tease of we look we got of Camelot in issue 2 as well. Which is cool. Um, Getting a glimpse of what's really going on. And so, getting more and more of those teasers of the overall picture. It's as you said, it's a slow burn, but I'm liking where everything's going. This is one of those things. Like I just read through it, and I legitimately thought like, oh, this is great. Like this is just right up my alley. Wasn't quite sure, exactly what to get into, because I was just sold from the get go of, oh, Dinosaur Knights, I'm into it. Like I love lizard people. Funny enough, I'm in a few different D&D campaigns, and one of the characters I play is a lizard guy. And that's my longest running D&D character ever. Funny
Oh, rock on, rock on.
enough.
So
So,
do you play as Argonian and
uh, so in D&D they're called lizard folk.
Lizard Folk, right?
Yeah, and he's a druid named Turnic. He specializes in shape-shifting wild shape stuff. So he's able to turn
Nice.
into a bunch of like creatures and stuff, but then also do all the cool druid spells and stuff as well, which is more not what he does as of recently. But yeah, very fun character. And yeah, no, just point is like I love the the idea of it and all the ideas that went into it and everything. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Like when I find it, I was like, oh, this just connects to me on a bunch of personal levels as well.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like one of my favorite things. Like growing up, it was like I have pictures of me as like a 4 or 5 year old with like an old cassette that my grandma probably bought at like a flea market of like the show, and
Mm,
then they she found like the first three movies, so the live action ones. So
mm,
the show, the '80s show, and then the '89 and '90s live action
mm,
movies. Uh, was just like those were like on repeat. Like I just watched them over and over and over again. Um, so those are like kind of ingrained, and so like I really like reptile
sure.
people, and and I just wanted to do my take on that. And my take on that is like is like a uber science fictiony thing that's just throwing a shit ton of science fiction concepts
Mhm,
at you and just like, "Hey, I hope you can hold on," because I feel like I feel like it's gonna throw, like, my wife read it and was like, "Oh boy, I do not like this."
sure.
Right? So, like, it's not for everyone, and like, I was like, "Oh god," like, um and that was, like, the first reaction I got. She read the first issue. She read the first 2 issues, and they were roughly in the same state, as they are now. I mean, some of the jokes were different, like I said, and the dialogue. I revise dialogue constantly. But yeah, I was like, that was the first feedback. And I was like, oh shit. But then I sent it to my sister, who is a nerd like me. My wife's not a nerd, so it's like it
Yeah.
didn't, it didn't resonate with her. And then I sent it to a few more friends that are like have more
Yeah.
sensibilities like
Sure.
mine, and they were like, this is really cool. So I was like, oh, okay, all right. So there's like there's an like for the people who are interested in for the people who look at this cover and think this is cool, it's cool. If you look at this
Yeah.
cover and you're like, I'm not really into
Sure.
it, you're not gonna be into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, the promise of this cover is in between these
I
pages.
I I
It
would agree with
you
that.
know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like,
100%. No, you bring up an important point that, not everything is for everyone, and I think once you could realize that, you can move along with your life very happily,
sure,
I think,
sure, right.
you
Like,
know?
if you want the weird, the bleak cyberpunk
Yeah,
dystopia, you
yeah,
you can have that in other books. Other people write
right.
shit for people who are like, I want to read stuff for adults.
Mhm.
Go read a novel. Go
Well,
read some nonfiction. I don't know. I don't know what
that's
to tell
why
you.
what's great about the day and age we live in is making anything that you want, not just a comic, but even if it's like a video game or even like a movie, it's so accessible nowadays. And that's why we have so much of it now where it's just insane to keep up with it.
Sure, sure.
And
Well, I think that's why it's hard to break in too. It's like
oh
there's a
yeah.
lot. Like you don't know if something's. It's hard to know if something's good because, but I don't know. People
Mhm,
now with AI slop, you don't know. Like
mhm,
there might be something out there that, yeah, that might trick you, but well, that like is like playing on, these are the things that you might like. If you like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then it's just slop or whatever. But
sure.
I'm trying to say this isn't slop. It's good. I worked really hard on it.
Well, it's great, because I know this project, however, I don't even remember how I found it, to be honest. I don't remember it was one that I randomly found on a promo post somewhere, and then the idea of it just immediately struck me, and so I kept tabs on it since, and so I haven't personally read any of your other stuff, at least not yet, but, and you're showing off some of that earlier, mentioning a bits of it earlier, but I saw that you have that coming, yes.
Yeah, so I have this. This is out for a little bit. I don't have too many copies of this. So if people are interested in kaiju, this one's a little bit less I don't know, nerdy, I guess. Um it's also kind of comedy, but more of like a slice of life
Mhm.
superhero book. It would be my
Sure.
take on like a superhero genre,
Okay.
whereas Dino Knights is my take on like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I wouldn't say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would just say Saturday morning cartoon is like,
Sure.
but like with a little bit of edge and like a lot, like I said,
Sure.
a lot of
Yeah.
sophisticated sci-fi. But this is like kind of immature guy uh gets inherits a uh thing that turns him into like a Ultraman style
Yeah.
superhero, but he has no interest in doing that,
Mhm.
like fighting to save the planet or whatever. He actually just wants to be like a rock star, and that's Kaiju Blues. Like his name's
Yeah.
Josh. All he wants to do is be a rock star, but he has to save the world because he
Yeah.
actually doesn't have a choice. Like anytime a kaiju gets near him, he gets sucked towards him and becomes giant and has to fight them or get his ass beat. So that's kind of that story.
Nice.
And I do this with Ty Peterson, who's an awesome artist
Awesome.
and a great collaborator. And we have issues 3 and 4 coming out next year. He's actively working on issue 4 on this, but it's just I have to do Dino Knights 5 and 6 before I do the second half of this.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah,
Nice. Very cool. Link down below for the Dino Knights Kickstarter, and you'll find all the other stuff and important links down below. And yeah, it's great talking to you about all this different stuff. Always cool to hear where ideas and stuff come about from. I thought this was, like I said, it was something I really enjoyed, and I was glad to be able to talk to you about it, which is fantastic. I think everyone should definitely give it a go. Even if they're not a physical collector, you can get all the stuff digitally as well. So however you like to read your stuff, you can check these out. Highly
Oh, thank you
recommend.
so much. Thank you so much.
Anything else you want to share before we finish this?
Well, yeah, just check out the Kickstarter. There's also a Haunting on Mars. You can grab it there. This is a whole like full graphic novel. You can buy this full thing for like $16. It's a
Oh,
steal.
nice.
Um, I also have this in singles, but it's obviously much more expensive because they're expensive to produce. It's in singles and it's full size and full color,
Oh,
like a
nice.
like
Hmm.
that. Um, so you can grab either of those. You can also grab House of Blood, which is it's in the background somewhere. I can't grab it, but that's also a full trade paperback. I think that's 20 or 25, and those are like available as add-ons. And so
Nice.
I mean, there's like 500 pages worth of comics that you can get on the Kickstarter. So, and
That's pretty
Kickstarter
cool.
is like right now they're striking. So I would appreciate any amount of backers that are interested. Yeah, back. Because yeah, Kickstarter is struggling right now. Hopefully that strike ends
Interesting.
soon.
I
My
haven't heard about that.
Kickstarter is feeling it. Yeah, yeah. Like I found out about it at Comic Con. Like they like gave us a flyer, and I was like, oh, that would explain why my Kickstarter is half the amount of people that it had last time. It's crazy.
Huh.
So,
Interesting. Well, I think there'll always be a way at the end of the day to put out more of these at the very least. So
oh yeah, for sure,
yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, definitely go check out the Kickstarter link down below. And hope you all enjoy. It's wonderful having you here. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I want to do more of these things, bring on more people. And you know what? May have to have you back sometime. It's great talking to you.
Oh, for
So
sure. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely. All right. Until next time. See you all later. Bye.